Hello everyone, Violet here, and today we're going to talk about books that I acquired, that are on my shelf, that intimidate me. They scare the crap out of me. Hopefully you all can convince me to be less scared of them. I should explain these. My nails don't look good, so it's for you. Kitty and Lydia are gonna be saving you from having to see my hands today. So, let's start with the one that fits no category here. I have Lucky by Jackie Collins. The reason this scares me is that it is so long. This is well over 500 pages. Also, it is, I think Jackie was writing definitely romantic work, but I think it's a little more epic family saga type of stuff. Definitely salacious for the 80s, but I don't know. I'm we'll see. I hope I like this, is the thing. But it's such an investment. You will see a recurring theme here, which is that I am someone who does not necessarily reach for thick books. So a lot of these books are very thick. Then we'll get to the fantasy on my shelf that pretty much scares me. We have Exiles, The Ruins of Ombre by Melanie Ron. So this was the Hot Nuance Book Club's first pick. They are a podcast that largely focuses on fantasy written by women in the 90s, often because a lot of people tend to forget that women were writing these and kind of erase them. So they were doing things to sort of highlight, or doing books that would highlight this history. And this was the first one they picked. Good Lord, I got 200 pages into it, and then I put it down and I didn't pick it up again. So I'd like to they tackle it sort of in chunks. So I'd like to start over, read the chunks, and then listen to the episodes, and sort of do that. I feel like that would be fun to maybe tackle in the new year. We'll see if I get there, though. The Wayfarer Redemption by Sarah Douglas. This is, I think, an earlier fantasy romance series from the 90s. I have two of the other books, so I'm I should really give this a shot. See if I really want to continue with it. Maybe I'll just like this one and want to just not keep going with the series. We'll see. A new release. I'd like to get to this year. We'll see if it happens. 5 Broken Blades by Mai Corland. This was a book of the month pick, as you can see up here. I think it's about sort of 5 assassins. I've also heard it has some heist vibes, so maybe sort of Six of Crows vein. Not that all heist books that are in fantasy worlds are Six of Crows, but let's get to historicals. Penelope Williamson's Heart of the West, which has a very fun, 2-page step back. I think it's gorgeous. This, I picked up a couple of Penelope Williamson's books because the Reformed Rakes podcast talked about one of her books a few months ago, and it sounded really cool. I wanted to give her a shot. Never heard of her before. This is a Western. I mean, it'd be kind of wild if it wasn't. Again, horse! Not enough horses. Anyway, the reason this one intimidates me the most is because it is the longest. This one is, again, 600... Lord, 710 pages. So, scary. More thematically than, length, though it's not short, but it's, average length. Laura Kinsale's Flowers from the Storm. This one really comes down to kind of subject matter. This deals with a guy who I believe spends a lot of time in an asylum, and so I imagine it's just going to be really stressful and exhausting to read. And so, I've heard this is her most beloved book, and since it's some people's favorite book, it's one of those magnum opuses of the genre. So I know it's on that list of books I should read, but I'm never I'm just gonna casually pick this up. It's not a book I feel like you can just casually pick up, But I'm excited to try it. In a similar vein, somewhat for subject matter, for epicness, another early-ish romance classic, Sky O'Malley by Bertrice Small. I was so excited to get the fun cover with this. Like, oh, and it's a wraparound too. So we got the spine. And then the back, we got some adventure happening. I know this is not PC. Like, this is a bodice ripper. So be aware of that. But, I'm just excited. She's like, Sky O'Malley's supposed to be this like swashbuckling iconic heroine who does a whole bunch of stuff, and I think she's got like multiple love interests. Like, this is one of those books where I think like it doesn't necessarily follow the expected trajectory of a traditional romance. So I think that's pretty cool. Again, excited to try it, intimidated by length and some subject matter. I swear I picked this book up for a reason. I did. It's not going to be readily apparent for a minute, but I did grab it for a reason. This chunker, this murder weapon-sized tome is Scarlet, the official, like legal, approved by the estate fan fiction sequel to Gone with the Wind. I did grab this for a reason. Next year you will find out why. But this is not only a sequel to iconic Confederate propaganda text, it's also like 800 pages long. The audiobook for this, I think, is around 40 hours. It's just, it's gonna take so long to get through. But I have a plan. I have a plan for this book. And that is why I own it. But it is terrifying. Like, oh my god. On a very different note, neither of these books are very long. I know there's going to be some subject matter that's a little intense, but the reason that I find these intimidating is because this author has a reputation. Every time I see anyone talk about Kennedy Ryan, it is about how much she writes an emotional gut punch. You're just gonna be wrecked by her. And like, that's not necessarily what I reach for in books. Like, I'm not necessarily mad when I get gut punched in a book, but like, it's hard for me to be like, oh, I'm just gonna, again, it's not a thing you just like casually pick up, you know? It's a thing that like, okay, I'm gonna mentally prepare myself for this before I let go, which has one of my absolute favorite romance covers of all time. Like, I cannot express how gorgeous this book is. This one I know is a second chance romance between a couple that got divorced, and I think it goes into why their marriage fell apart and then them finding their way back together. And I think I know why, like the big reason, the big content warning here. I'm not going to say it here. You can check Goodreads stuff if you're curious, but I don't want to spoil it. I imagine I'm going to bawl my eyes out at this. So I'm like, oh, this is the first Kennedy Ryan I got. And I was like, okay, I've got it. It's gorgeous. When am I going to read it? When am I going to be brave enough to read it? So hopefully next year I'll be brave enough to read it. Real by Kennedy Ryan. I started this book earlier this year on audio, and I stopped for a couple of reasons. One was that the audio platform I was using was kind of jittery, so I kept like stopping in spots, and so that was really annoying. And the second one, which I think was a sign that I just needed to pick it up physically, is that there kept being like passages that I wanted to reread. And the problem with that is, like, in audio, you can't really do that. You know, when you're reading physically, you can just, like, go back and just sort of drink in the paragraph again. You can't really do that in an audiobook. Not easily. So I was like, well, I just clearly need to stop this version of it. Like, the audiobook is great. Like, the dual narrators are fabulous. But I was like, I clearly just need to read this physically. And so I got it, and now, again, I'm like in that Kennedy Ryan's gonna rip out my heart, and I'm scared. So I'll get brave. I'll get brave, I promise. Those are the books on my shelf that scare me the most, and hopefully I will get brave enough to really tackle them. I don't know if you could get more opposed for books that I have a plan for than these two. But, yeah. Their plans are had. Pray for me. Well, thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye.